to Let's Wander. Today I'm here in the bus with Lyla and Buddy, and we are in Brighton. So we're going to be heading out and checking out some of the sights, go and look at some of the landmarks. So with all of this being said, let's wander. We began our wander by the remains of West Pier. The pier was opened in 1866 and it was designed by Eugenius Birch. The pier was enlarged in 1893 and later a concert hall was also added in 1916. Unfortunately, the pier was closed in 1975 and it fell into disrepair and then had 2 incidents of arson, which leaves us with what we see today, although now it is a home for many types of seabird and it is also a favourite for photographers. Where the entranceway was to the West Pier now is the home of the I-360. Opened on the 4th of August 2016, the I-360 stands at 162 metres tall. It cost a whopping £46 million to make and was designed by the same people who designed the London Eye. The I-360 rides high above the rooftops of Brighton, giving you a great view of the South Downs, and it is said that on a clear day you can see all the way to France. This is the Upside Down House, and it's the UK's first upside down house. In a time when social media is so popular, it's a great place to go if you want to get some really unusual pictures. This is the Grand Hotel, which was built in 1864 on the site which was the West Battery at Artillery Place, which was one of Brighton's 18th century coastal defences. In 1984, it was the site of an IRA bombing, which took place at 2:51 on the 12th of October. The target was Margaret Thatcher during a Conservative Party conference. Margaret Thatcher survived, however 5 other people were killed in the blast. But on a lighter note, ABBA spent the night there after winning the 1974 Eurovision Song Contest with their hit Waterloo. They stayed in the Napoleon Suite. I think it might also be the hotel that was used in the film Quadrophenia, where Jimmy steals a silver scooter from outside of it at the end of the film and then drives it over a cliff. It was a lovely crisp morning, so we headed east towards the sunrise. A, better photos, B, to keep warm. This is the Vaux Electric Railway, and it's the oldest surviving electric railway in the world. It was invented by Brighton resident Magnus Volk and was opened on the 4th of August 1883. It is 1 mile long and has 3 stops where passengers can alight. It wasn't Volk's only idea for a railway in Brighton. He wanted to extend it out into the town. Failing that, he turned his eyes to the sea and created the Pioneer, which was also known as the Daddy Longlegs. The reason for going into the sea was to avoid the cliffs heading towards Rottingdean. Unfortunately, new sea defences meant moving the line deeper, so the idea was abandoned around 1900. This colourful area is known as Madeira Drive. This statue is of Steve Ovett, who was born in Brighton and went to Varndine Grammar School. He won gold in the 800 metres at the 1980 Moscow Olympics and bronze in the 1,500 metres. This grotto is the creation of Rory McCormack, the last of Brighton's beach fishermen. It began from him fencing his fishing tackle in to protect it from vandalism. Rory began creating statues from flint and cement and earned his place as an outsider artist. In 2015, the local authorities sought to remove his statues from the beach. However, his popularity in the town caused the council to back down on their plans. It's become a popular tourist attraction. These are the Victoria Gardens, named after Queen Victoria, and are situated near the city centre. Thing is, Victoria wasn't all that keen on Brighton. She referred to the city as a prison, which was unlike an earlier monarch, George IV, who loved Brighton and left his mark on it. King George IV's statue stands proudly, not very far from the entrance to the Royal Pavilion. George first came to Brighton on the advice of his physicians, who thought he could benefit from taking the sea air. Dr. Richard Russell had made claims that the sea held many health benefits, particularly being dipped in the water. In 1811, George was sworn in as Prince Regent, and at that time, Marine Pavilion, as it was known, was a much smaller building, and George liked to host some very grand parties, so in 1815 it was given the go-ahead to be upgraded into what we see today. In 1820, George became king, but due to ill health and royal responsibilities, he only visited the Finnish palace twice before his death in 1830. The design influenced much of the Regency buildings that you see in Brighton. Heading up further into the town, you come to the winding labyrinth that is known as the Lanes. The Lanes dates back to when Brighton was known as Brighthelmstone, and there are a winding maze of narrow streets lined with shops. They began being constructed around the late 16th century on an area of land known as the Hampshires. The Lanes was once largely occupied by antique dealers, however today it is mainly jewellers and attracts many couples looking for wedding rings. Some of the antique shops remain, such as the Lanes Armoury, which is a fantastic shop and well worth a visit in my opinion. Brighton is a colourful, lively and also quite a strange place. It's also known as Never Normal Brighton. And if you're looking for food, like Spider-Man here, you'll be spoilt for choice. In the morning on our last day, Lyla, Buddy and I went for a wander along the beach to do a spot of beach combing. It was a wet and grey morning, but it didn't stop us from going on a wander. We found this float from a boat, and when we looked it up, the Lomba Maori was in the Azores, and attached to the float were these unusual looking sea creatures. I quite liked the shells. On looking them up to find out they were, I discovered that they were goose barnacles, and they actually are a haute cuisine and can actually fetch a good price in the market. Don't worry, I left these ones to get washed back in by the tide, but the shells are so pretty. Lyla and Buddy seemed particularly fascinated with the smells from them as well. Hey, so that takes us to the end of our wander in Brighton. I hope you liked it. And if you want to see more videos like these, then hit that subscribe button. I'd also like it very much if you would hit the like button and leave us a little comment and say what you think. So from me, Chris, lovely Lyla, and the beautiful Buddy boy, this was Let's Wander, and we'll see you again soon. Bye bye bye!